Welcome yogis, my name is Sara and today we are going to go through a simple beginner's yoga sequence. So a lot of these poses and transitions that we'll do, we're going to kind of slow them down, work through the alignment and awareness of each pose and transition because they're very foundational and you'll see them a lot moving forward in future yoga classes. So I thought we'd take the time to just be mindful and move with awareness through these common poses. Whether you're a brand new beginner, this is your first yoga class, if so, fantastic decision. Yoga has by far changed my life physically, mentally. It's just been an amazing experience. Or if you're a more seasoned practitioner and you've been practicing for years and years, it's still really nice to kind of slow down and really take some of these just really key poses nice and slow and really work through the alignment. You don't really need any props or anything today, but sometimes it's really nice to just have a block or a pillow or a large kind of heavy set bound book. A couple of those might be really nice for practice today if you have some, but if not, no worries again. So we're going to get started today. Our first pose is called Child's Pose. So we will come to our hands and knees, spread the knees out wide to the outside edges of the mat. Your toes come back to touch behind you as you settle your hips back on your heels and extend your arms forward, bringing your forehead to the mat. Elbows can rest down. Really just settle your hips back. And just start to breathe here. Just start to notice your breath. Child's pose is a common and a great pose to start a yoga class with because it allows us to really just tune in, check in with how our body's feeling. Your eyes may be closed and you can really kind of start to breathe in and out, settling into the body. Before we start moving through other poses, we also like to connect with our breath. So here in our first child's pose, we can do that by breathing in to the count of 4 and out to the count of 4, pausing at the tops and bottoms of our inhales and exhales. So together, inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, pause, and exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, pause. Inhale, 1, 2, 3, 4, pause. And exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can continue this breath, this mindful breath, throughout the entire length of our class today. If it's accessible for you to breathe slowly in and out through the nose, that is an option. Yoga is all about the breath. So we see these poses, these pictures of these asanas, these poses in social media, online, or in a yoga class. That's not all about what yoga is. Yoga is about the breath and it's about the stillness of the mind. So at any point, if you feel a bit fatigued, this is a great pose to come back to, this child's pose. But especially if at any point you feel like your breath is no longer with you. And by that, I mean you're not moving with your breath. Maybe it's a little ragged, maybe you've lost your breath. Come back to this child's pose. You can always take breaks. This is your practice. Any poses, any transitions, anything that I offer are just merely suggestions. Always remember to listen in to your body today. We'll start moving with our breath leading us. Inhale, look forward at your hands and come up into tabletop pose. Hips over knees, shoulders over wrists, and just pause here for a moment, pushing into your hands, flattening out through the back, activating through the core. We'll take a couple cat-cows from here. So on your inhale, drop the belly, lift the gaze, cow pose. Exhale, begin to round in, chin to chest, spine lifts, cat pose. Inhale, belly drops, look up, cow pose. Exhale, round in, chin to chest, cat pose. Take this one more time on your breath. Inhale, cow. And exhale, cat. Good job. Come back to neutral. We're going to extend our right leg back behind us, ball the foot on the mat. You can just start to stretch through. Feel the stretch in your calf. Kind of rock back and forth. Now, if it's accessible for you today, try to hover that right foot off of the mat. Just for a moment here. If not, you can always leave the ball of the foot right on the mat. That's fine too. And on our exhale, we're going to round in, knee to nose. Inhale. Leg straightens back, and exhale, round in. One more time, inhale, leg back. Exhale, this time use that same core engagement and bring your foot all the way between your hands. We're going to set up for a low lunge here, so you can tuck the back toes and kind of move the back knee further back a bit. Your right knee should be stacked right over your right ankle. And you start to feel a nice stretch through the hip here. So only move that knee back as far as it needs to start to feel that gentle stretch. Inhale, broaden through the chest, lift the gaze. And then we'll plant our left hand on the mat. Reach your right hand up to the sky for an easy twist. Look up if that works for your neck, otherwise it can remain neutral. Great, release. We'll bring your knees back to meet, back into our tabletop pose. We'll go ahead and do that on the other side now. So this time stretch your left leg back and take those little calf stretches, ball the foot on the mat. Now if you did so on the other side, maybe you gently start to hover your left leg off the mat. And on your next exhale, bring that knee in towards your nose. Inhale, straighten. Exhale, knee in toward nose. Inhale, straighten. Exhale this time. Bring your foot all the way through between your hands. Start to walk that back knee back a bit until you start to feel that nice stretch in your hips once again. Inhale, lift the chest, and breathe. Now plant your right hand this time. Left hand lifts up toward the sky. Easy twist. And release. Come back to your tabletop pose. Now from here, we're going to come into our first downward facing dog. So you want to walk your hands forward just a bit. Tuck your toes as you start to push into your hands and feet and lift your hips up to the sky. Now your feet should be about hip width distance. You can look forward at your hands. They are about shoulders width distance. Now for these first down dogs, your knees can certainly be bent. They can be bent a whole lot. Bend them as much as you need in order to feel a straightening through your spine, long and strong through the arms. And then once you have that front torso body engagement, you can start to slowly straighten through the legs. But it's okay if they never straighten. It's okay if your heels never touch the ground. If you feel like you're building strength in the arms, then you're doing it perfectly. Now from here, we'll look forward and slowly start to walk our feet to meet our hands. And we're at the top of the mat in a forward fold. Just let your head go here. Maybe you can grab onto opposite elbows with your hands and just slowly start to rock side to side. Ragdoll pose. We're really just releasing here. Take some nice deep breaths. Great. Toe, heel the feet in together, toes to touch, tiny bit of space between the heels. Bend through the knees as you slowly come up to stand. Once you arrive, arms at your sides, palms face forward. Mountain pose. Inhale, arms come up, overhead, reach up. Exhale, palms together, hands through heart center as you fold all the way down, hands to the floor. Inhale, halfway lift, so your palms will come to your shins. They could also come to your thighs, but most importantly here, we want a straight spine. Halfway lift, and exhale, fold back down. From here, bring both feet back into a plank pose. Lower your knees. We'll go through our first vinyasa here. So we're going to lower our chest all the way to the mat, but we'll keep our elbows tucked into our sides as we lower all the way down. Forehead to the mat, hands stay where they are. Push all 10 toes into the mat as we lift up into low cobra. So lift your head and your chest off the mat. Inhale, exhale, release the forehead down. We'll go through a couple more rounds of cobra. Once again, inhale, lift the chest and the head off the mat. Push into all of those toes. Exhale, release. Now this next time, we're also going to lift our hands off the mat as well, so we keep the entire engagement in the lower back, and that's where the lift is coming from. So inhale, Lift the head, lift the chest, lift the hands, and exhale, release. Tuck the toes, push back through tabletop, up and back to downward facing dog. We'll take 2 breaths here. Now we're going to bring our right leg all the way through, knee to nose again, and bring that foot all the way through between our hands. Now this is a tricky transition for a lot of yogis. So what you can do is use your hand to help that foot forward, or bring your back knee down and gently place the foot forward too, and that back leg will give you some extra support on the way up. But keep the back leg lifted once you get your foot between your hands, and we're going to come up into a high lunge. So really push through that right foot, right knee over right ankle, and extend the arms up to the sky. High lunge. Now your back foot here is super engaged. You're on the ball of the back foot. Your back leg is straight and strong. Now a common transition from here is to go into our warrior 2, which from here we'll bring our hands to heart center for a bit more balance. As we spin that back foot, it'll be parallel with the short edge of the mat, but then I always like to turn my toes in just a bit, because that allows my hips to open up a bit more as I settle into warrior 2. So you're going to bend through that front knee, and then extend the arms out in either direction. Your right arm reaching energetically forward. You can look back at your left arm. It should be energetically reaching back. Now, with that right knee, it's going to want to bow in a bit. Keep it pushing toward the right side of your mat. You should be able to see your big toe. We'll come into reverse warrior from here by flipping our front palm and tracing a line up to the sky. Right arm lifts, your back arm comes down to your left thigh. Back to warrior 2. From here we'll move into extended side angle, so we'll bend through the right elbow, bring it to the top of the right leg, and just bring your left arm up and over. Your left bicep will be by your left ear. Great, come back up to warrior 2. Now straighten through that front leg, and we're going to come into triangle pose from here. So you might want to move that back foot in just a few inches. Otherwise, start to tick your left hip back a bit and your right arm forward before releasing your right arm down to your leg. It can be on your shin, it could be on your ankle, it could be also on your pillow or your block. And extend your left hand up to the sky. Now, in triangle pose, we're really looking for this wonderful stretch along the side body, but we're also looking to keep moving our head and our torso back, just gently back, really opening up. Great. Look down towards your right toes and bring your hands on either side of your toes. We're going to step back into our plank, lower the knees, and go through our vinyasa. So bend the elbows, lower all the way down, forehead to the mat, chest to the mat. Push into all 10 toes as you lift up, baby cobra. Exhale, release. Inhale all the way up through tabletop and into downward facing dog. Great job, yogis. Let's do that sequence on the other side. So we're gonna go ahead and bring our left foot between our hands, whichever way works for you. Round in and then bring the foot forward. Help it forward, maybe you lower the knee. Once you're there, we're gonna push into that left foot and come up into high lunge, arms to the sky. Nice bend through that front knee stacked over front ankle. Now bring your hands down to heart center for balance and start to spin your back foot so it's parallel with the short edge of the mat. Again, I like to bring my toes in just a bit at an angle. That allows me to open up through my hips just a bit more and settle into that front knee as we open up our arms into Warrior Two. Again, try to keep that left knee tracing toward the left side of your mat. Don't let it bow in. Inhale, flip the front palm. Reverse your warrior. Left hand to the sky. Right hand on your back thigh. Back to Warrior Two. Extended side angle. Left elbow to the top of the left leg. Right arm rainbows over. Bicep by your ear. Feel a nice long line of energy from that outside edge of that back foot all the way up through your fingertips of your right hand. Now back, Warrior Two. Go ahead and straighten through your front leg. Maybe bring your back foot in just a bit as we move into our triangle pose. So bring your hips back, left hand forward, left hand comes down to your shin as your right hand reaches up. Shoulders in line, chest opening, head back. You can look up if that works for your neck. You could also look down at your toes. If you're not already, look down at your left toes and we'll come down into lunge, step back into plank, lower the knees and head through your vinyasa. Exhale, lower down, elbows in, forehead to the mat. Inhale, lift the heart, lift the head, low cobra. Exhale, back down, tabletop pose, and we'll take a little child's pose from here. You can have your knees wide, toes to touch again, or another version of child's pose is keeping the knees together, settling the hips straight back, and bringing the forehead down. Your arms can also come out in front of you again, like the child's pose from before, or you can swim the arms back by your sides, and that really releases through the shoulders. Just take a few breaths here, just check in with how your body feels. We went through a lot of big poses there. So you might be feeling a bit more openness or a bit more tension. Just breathe into the sensations that you're feeling. Great, go ahead and extend your arms out in front of you if they weren't already. Come up into tabletop pose and we'll head back into our down dog. So tuck your back toes, reach your hips up, really extend through the arms. Go ahead and bend through the knees. Now we'll take our left foot in toward our nose and bring that foot forward again. between our hands. Now from here, we're going to spin straight open to warrior two. So we've been in that pose before. You'll want to bring your right foot down parallel to the back edge of the mat as you open up straight into warrior two. Hold this warrior two for a few breaths. Really check in with your alignment. Is your knee over your ankle? Is your knee tracking toward the left side of the mat? Now straighten through that left leg and start to bring both feet parallel to the short edges of your mat. So you're in a wide-legged stance here, and we're going to go into a wide-legged forward fold from here. So you're going to want to start this fold from your hips and keep a straight back all the way as you start to lean forward, flat back. And then you can bring your hands to the mat anywhere that feels good for you. Release the head. Now bring your hands back to your hips, and just like how we came down, we're going to come back up with that flat back. Really engage through the core. Now from here, we'll move to warrior two on the other side by moving our left foot forward and bringing our right foot forward, and ticking in our left toes just a bit. Settle into that right knee and extend your arms out back into warrior two. Now you're facing the back of your mat. Straighten through that right knee. Bring your feet parallel once again to the short edges of the mat. We'll come back into that forward fold, but this time, bring your hands clasped behind your tailbone and really open up through the chest. And then we begin our fold down. Hands still clasped behind us. Maybe once you are all the way into your wide-legged forward fold, your arms come up and overhead. Really nice shoulder stretch here. Great, release. Bring your hands down, and we're gonna just start to slowly walk our hands toward the front of the mat, rotating our feet so we're back in our lunge. Step your left knee back to meet your right into plank pose. Lower the knees, and we'll go through our last vinyasa here. So go ahead and lower down all the way to your stomach. Forehead meets the mat. Inhale, low cobra. Exhale, release. Go through your tabletop to meet in downward facing dog. Now from here, we're going to take a slow walk back to the top of the mat. So we're standing at the top of our mat. Feet together, heels apart just a bit. Forward fold. Now from here, we're going to come into chair pose. So really bend through your knees and reach your hands up. Keep that deep bend in the knees as your hands are reaching forward. Now you should be able to see your toes. If you can't, settle your hips back just a bit more. One more breath here. And release all the way up to standing. Hands to heart center. And from here, we're going to come into tree pose. Nice balancing pose here. I'll turn to face you for this. So you'll want your feet together. Start to ground down through your left foot, and your right foot can either kickstand at your ankle, can come to your shin. If it's accessible, you can try to bring that right foot to your inner thigh and hold it there, or bring your hands to heart center. So whatever is accessible for you today. I'm going to stand up straight, crown of the head reaching tall. If you feel balanced here, maybe you start to reach your hands up and overhead. Just breathe here. And release. Go ahead and start to ground down through the other foot, the right foot this time. Can again bring your left foot, kickstand at your ankle, to your shin, to your inner thigh. Whatever you did on the other side, just try to mimic it on this side. I'll move to the top of the mat again. Stand up straight and tall. If you would like, you can extend your hands up, overhead, maybe open them wide, maybe cactus your arms. Great, come back to center. Go ahead and reach your hands all the way up to the sky. Exhale, fold all the way down, hands to the mat. Go ahead and step back, come into your tabletop. We're going to come into seated from here, so you can cross at the ankles and come onto your seat. Bring the soles of your feet to the mat. We're going to do just a quick boat pose before we release down to our backs. So soles of the feet on the mat, you'll want your hands behind your thighs here. As you slowly start to lean back, redistribute the weight a bit so you're able to hover your shins off the mat. The important part here in boat pose is that your chest keeps lifting forward and you keep a straight spine. Hold here for just another breath. Good job, yogis, and release. Make sure you have enough space behind you as you come down to your back. Keep your feet where they are. We'll want the soles of our feet on the mat still with our knees bent up. We're going to come into bridge pose from here. So in order to kind of calculate if your spacing is going to be good for this pose, I like to try to tickle the backs of my heels with my fingertips. That kind of sets up a good foundation for this pose. Now, if you do have a pillow or a block by you that you're using today, you can always put it in between your legs here, just like this. Or if you don't have it, that's fine, we can go do without it. But for bridge pose, it's going to be important that our inner thighs keep energetically hugging in for this entire pose. So when you're ready, we're going to push into our feet to slowly start lifting our hips up to the sky. Again, energetically drawing your inner thighs together. We don't want our legs to be splayed out here. Bring your chin away from your chest. Hold here. And slowly release. Great job. From here, we'll come into a spinal twist. So bring both knees in first. Kind of rock through, kind of loosen up through your low back. And then grab onto your right leg and extend your left leg out straight. Hug that right knee in, give it a good squeeze. And then slowly bring that right knee all the way over to the left. And your right hand can come out to the side. You can look over toward your right hand for a bit of a deeper stretch. But in these reclined spinal twists, it's important to have both shoulder blades. See if you can keep them both on the ground, both on the mat. That ensures the twist is coming from the correct part of our spine. Breathe here. Awesome. Come back to center. I'm going to go ahead and switch legs here. Bring your left leg in this time. Extend the right leg out long. Give that left leg a good squeeze in. And draw that left knee all the way over to the right. Maybe your left arm comes out to the side. Maybe you look over to the left. Ensuring both shoulders are on the mat. Breathe into this twist. Release back to center. Bring both knees in once more. Give yourself one final squeeze. Maybe bring your forehead up to try to touch your knees. Really squeeze in. And we'll release to Shavasana. So legs go long on the mat and wide, arms long on the mat and wide, palms face up. Really take up space here. Maybe your eyes close, or you can just have a soft gaze. Shavasana is the time where we really integrate all the work we've done in class. It's a time to just let go of our breath, return it to a nice, steady, natural breath. We'll take 2 breaths here together, inhaling through the nose and exhaling through the mouth. So when you're ready, inhale and exhale through the mouth. Once more, inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Nothing to do but just to be here and give yourself the gift of these next few moments in stillness. You can always feel free to stay in this resting pose for as long as your day allows. If you're ready to re-enter your day, start to gently wiggle through the fingers and the toes. Bring this gentle movement into the wrists Maybe we take a long, full body stretch, reach up overhead, point through the toes. And start to roll over to your right side in the fetal position. You can use your bicep as a pillow. The fetal position is just a symbol of rebirth, kind of a re-emergence into our day. I always like to think of the question, with what energy do I want to return to my day? And with that intention, you can start to push into the hands. Come up to just a gentle seat. You can keep the eyes closed or have a soft gaze. Your hands can be on your knees, in your lap, or palms together at heart center. Check in with how you feel. How do you feel now versus the beginning of class? What did you learn about your body? Did you learn that one side is tighter than the other? Did you find places that were more open that you were expecting? Take a moment in gratitude to yourself and to your body and for taking this time. I thank you for joining me today. Be well. Namaste.